there is such a thing as a European culture, but it's totally embedded, it's totally rooted in diversity.
Guimarães, a town of 158,000 inhabitants in the north of Portugal, is not only the place where the country was born, back in 1143. This year, the city adds the title of European Capital of Culture, a responsibility shared with Maribor in Slovenia. The event, promoted by the European Union, aims to bring Europeans closer together by showing the diversity of their cultures. But how can an event like the European Capital of Culture trigger a sense of citizenship all over Europe? Especially when in geographic and practical terms, the event's consequences are measured at a regional or national level. For Mercedes Bresso, President of the Committee of Regions, culture is a way to open minds.
The first important thing is to help Europeans to know better each other, and also to travel to better know Europe. It's also a way to put together young people, young artists from different parts of Europe. They came in this city, in this region, and they help this city to develop new ideas on culture.
And those artists came, giving a touch of modernity to an old industrial city. The disused factories that were once home to the region's textile industry are now art galleries, concert stages, and artists' laboratories. Maria Luís started planning a space where architects and artists could work and produce together back in 2007.
This is an idea that we started in 2007, more or less, so it was a long time ago. At that time, my husband and myself, we were at New York living and working, and we used to go to a lot of galleries and a lot of places which have artists in residence. We started thinking about creating something like that here in Guimarães. When we were told that the city was the next European capital of culture, we think, okay, so now is the time to go back and to start.
Architecture is also the topic of exhibitions taking place in other former factories of the city. In Asa Factory, the architect and urbanist Nuno Portas shows different moments of the Portuguese urban culture over the past 50 years. But cultural considerations were not the most important when we examined the budget of the event. Out of 100 million euros, about 70 million were allocated for infrastructure investments. The cultural programs saw its parcel downgraded from 25 to 21 million euros, as a response to the economic crisis the country is going through. And 8 million euros were allocated to promotion and publicity. The restoration of degraded areas on the periphery of the historic center was the priority of the local government. The City Hall contributed with 17 million euros to the total budget of the event, an investment not expected to be returned in a short term. The mayor of the city, António Magalhães, sees the European Capital of Culture as an opportunity that Guimarães couldn't miss, and whose investments will mainly benefit its citizens.
O retorno não se vai diretamente para os cofres da Câmara, como sabe. O retorno beneficia sobretudo a nossa sociedade. A restauração, a hotelaria, o seminário de hotelaria, o artesanato, o comércio tradicional, sentem já hoje as vantagens que por aí vêm.
Inside the shops, the payback is already visible.
Não foi muito difícil e isto trouxe, foi como se fosse um fenómeno de contraciclo conseguimos estar a resistir, no fundo, ao que está-se a passar em termos económicos.
The symbol of Guimarães 2012 can be seen everywhere in the city. With the motto "I'm part of it", the heart represents the involvement of the citizens in the project.
Eu faço parte. The lema was, you are part of it. And people change this, I'm part of it. It's a European capital of culture with the people, not for the people.
The City Hall official, responsible for the culture folder, believes that the initiative has opened doors to a wider civic engagement by the citizens. Leni Ferronato is one of the many volunteers that contribute daily to the cultural events. The Brazilian student arrived at the beginning of the year for an exchange program and immediately fell in love with the project.
É história passada, é história presente e eu acho que é história futura. O trabalho que está sendo feito aqui com a capital europeia é uma coisa muito bacana de ser vivenciada e ser percebida, porque assim, uma coisa é Guimarães antes de ser a capital, outra coisa é Guimarães durante e o que vai ficar.
One of Leni's main tasks is to organize the work and schedules of all the other volunteers. Mariana Leite is one of them.
O que eu acho que está a ser difícil a nível do país encarar esse projeto é vê-lo como um projeto europeu, quer dizer, é a capital europeia da cultura. E portanto Guimarães é como se fosse a seleção nacional a vestir a camisola de Portugal a representar-nos na Europa. E por esta dimensão, não é, europeia do projeto, eu achei que ia ser uma experiência única, não é?
For 1 year, every day, Guimarães will host cultural events. From music to theatre, from architecture to dance, there are events for all the different types of public. In the city's cultural center, the theatre play Cati the Witch tells the kids the story of a witch who launches her spells romantically until one day she encounters a problem. Her marriage is in peril, but she doesn't understand why. In a story filled with amusing episodes and incidents, Cati asks the cook to help her in order to resolve the mystery of her conjugal crisis. Being named European Capital of Culture has brought many visitors to the city. But, in the end, is this a local or an European event?
I think it's both. I think first and foremost it is a local event. You know, we talked earlier about the fact that it can be, you know, fantastic for local tourism. It attracts people from the country concerned to that city. It also attracts people from other parts of Europe to that city. It raises awareness of that city and its identity. What we want to see at a European level for the cities is a long-term legacy, a legacy which is, you know, social, which is cultural, and which is economic.
A legacy that is discovered by more and more tourists. How did you find the city until now?
It's beautiful. It's very. I think it's typical of Portugal. We've been told quite a bit about the history as well, so it's nice to be able to have a guide taking us around to tell us some useful details.
Very important for Europe that people know each other and that they know the importance of one town, which maybe up to now they didn't even know that it exists.
And it is through the local development that the European Union wants to relaunch the economy of the whole Europe, as the President of the European Commission, José Manuel Barroso, stated in the inauguration of Guimarães 2012.
Para além do desenvolvimento cultural, as cidades europeias da cultura têm sabido contribuir para o desenvolvimento económico e social das cidades, das regiões e dos países que concretizam esses projetos. Um processo que muitas vezes envolve, como é o caso de Guimarães, projetos de requalificação urbana e de reabilitação do património.
Toral, Guimarães Main Square, and Alameda, one of the most emblematic gardens, are the most visible results of this regeneration process, showing a new face of the city. However, they were not the only ones.
Mas é também um projeto que se deve inserir no contexto regional e contribuir ativamente para o desenvolvimento económico e social, nomeadamente para a promoção da coesão social.
The same stage where José Manuel Barroso held his speech for the opening of the European Capital of Culture brought together the Fundação Orquestra Studio and the rap band Expensive Soul in a symphonic experience that sold out 6,000 tickets. The conductor Rui Macena showed to the public another side of music, mixing the symphonic force and style with the rhythm and flexibility of pop music. In this concert, that involved the participation of a choir formed by inhabitants from Guimarães, the music of Expensive Soul was blended with the sounds of the young musicians of Fundação Orquestra Studio. Guimarães wants to be in 2012 a local stage for European events, but the inhabitants of this Portuguese region are the ones who will benefit the most by hosting this year the European Capital of Culture.
Larga a peça, compromisso, é preciso